Sleep paralysis is an experience that many people around the world have gone through. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night. Your body is motionless, your eyes fixed on the ceiling, but you can't move. A dark presence seems to hover over you, but you're unable to react. For some, this is just a momentary glitch between sleep and wakefulness, but for others, it might be a glimpse into a spiritual battle unfolding beyond the veil of the visible. Stay with me until the end of this video, because today we're going to explore this terrifying experience through the story of Samuel, a young man who found strength in the scriptures and faith in God. But before we begin, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel to always receive notifications about biblical stories. Samuel was an ordinary boy, born in a humble village, but from an early age he showed a deep love for God. His parents, devout followers of the law of Moses, taught him to respect the scriptures and to seek the presence of the Lord in all things. Every morning Samuel would wake up to the gentle sound of his mother's prayer, and every night his father would read passages from the Psalms before bed. Thus, he grew up in an environment of faith and devotion. Samuel was known in the village for his kindness and dedication. Whenever he could, he would help the elderly, participate in religious festivals, and dedicate himself to the study of the scriptures. He was inspired by great men of faith like Moses, Elijah, and David, and dreamed of being a faithful servant of God, just like them. As the years passed, Samuel began to notice that his faith was being challenged in ways he had never imagined. It all started with small nightmares, disturbing images that invaded his dreams. At first, he didn't think much of it, believing they were just manifestations of his tired mind. But over time, things began to intensify. One night Samuel was awakened by a strange sensation. He was conscious, but he couldn't move a single muscle in his body. It felt as if he were trapped, paralyzed in his own bed. The room was shrouded in deep darkness, and as he looked around, he realized he wasn't alone. A dark figure, almost indistinguishable from the shadows around him, seemed to be watching him. Samuel's heart raced, but he couldn't scream, couldn't call for help. This experience repeated itself several times over the following weeks. Each time it happened, the presence seemed to grow stronger, more threatening. Samuel began to feel exhausted, not just physically, but spiritually. He knew something was wrong, but he didn't know what to do. In a moment of desperation, Samuel decided to seek out the village rabbi, a wise and pious man who had always been a source of comfort for the community. After hearing Samuel's words, the rabbi remained silent for a few moments, deeply reflecting on what had been said. "Samuel," the rabbi said, "what you are facing is not just a battle against your own body or mind. There are forces in the spiritual world that sometimes manifest in ways we do not fully understand. The scriptures warn us about the presence of these forces. In Ephesians 6:12, Paul reminds us, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." The rabbi encouraged Samuel to strengthen his faith and protect himself with the spiritual armor described in the scriptures. He reminded him of the importance of prayer, reading the Psalms, and keeping his mind focused on God, even in the darkest hours. Samuel left the synagogue with a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that what he was facing was real, but he also knew that God was by his side. He decided to intensify his prayers, seeking divine protection every night before going to sleep. That night, Samuel prepared to sleep as usual, but something inside him told him that this would be a different night. He recited Psalm 91, which speaks of God's protection over those who trust in him. "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling." But as soon as he closed his eyes, the darkness seemed to engulf him in a way he had never felt before. He was once again taken by sleep paralysis, but this time the dark presence was stronger, more intimidating. Samuel felt as if the weight of the world was on his chest, and this time the figure he saw was as clear as day, a being with distorted features, a reflection of evil. Samuel tried to remember the rabbi's words, but fear consumed him. Then, in his mind, he heard a soft voice, reminding him of the scriptures. "Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." With a desperate effort, Samuel began to recite Psalm 23 in his mind. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." As he pronounced each word, he felt the pressure on his chest begin to ease. The dark figure hesitated, as if being repelled by an invisible force. Samuel continued to recite the scriptures, and the evil presence began to retreat until it completely disappeared. The next morning, Samuel woke up feeling a peace he hadn't felt in a long time. He knew he had faced a spiritual battle, but he also knew he wasn't alone. God had fought by his side, and he had emerged victorious. From that day on, the experiences of sleep paralysis began to diminish. Samuel continued his journey of faith, always reminding himself that no matter how frightening the battles we face may be, we have a God who is greater than any evil force. He shared his story with the other villagers, encouraging them to trust in God at all times, especially in the darkest hours. Samuel became an example of unwavering faith, and his story was told for generations, reminding everyone that in the midst of darkness, God's light always prevails. Samuel's story teaches us that, while we live in this world, we are constantly in a spiritual battle. Sleep paralysis can be a terrifying experience, but it can also be an opportunity to draw closer to God and strengthen our faith. As 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind." If you face dark nights and feel the weight of unseen forces, remember that God's protection is within your reach. Seek Him in prayer, meditate on His word, and trust that He is by your side, always ready to protect you. That was today's video. If you enjoyed it, give a like and subscribe to the channel to always receive notifications when a new video comes out. See you soon, and may God bless you.